Okay, the topic we are discussing is becoming a well-rounded tech professional. And I like to ask the question, who is a tech professional and what does it mean to be well-rounded? I understand that the audience in this webinar, we are both experienced and like fledgling developers, QA analysts, DevOps engineers, a host of tech professionals in here today. So to be well-rounded means to have skills and attributes that are diverse and are well advanced in many areas. So when you have someone who has several skills and those skills are quite developed, they are quite advanced, then we can say such a person is well-rounded. Now, bringing it to a tech professional, what are these attributes that we need for a tech professional to be well-rounded? So I don't know if, okay. I don't know if you're familiar with football. I know there's a rave in the air now about the AFCON and people are following the matches. Even if before now, a lot of people were not able to follow football, but this has become interesting. And I like to come from that angle as well to show us what it means to actually be a well-rounded person, and then what it means to be a well-rounded tech professional. So coming from the angle of football, I have this here. A couple of people might be able to recognize who these people are. And these people, they are exceptional people. They've done beautifully well in their careers. But these pictures are taken from a game rating that shows these people's prowess, their abilities in 6 fields. So they rated them in 6 dimensions: pace, shot, pass accuracy, dribble, defense, and physicality. And they gave these people these ratings. So if you look at them well, you see that some of them, they are all tending towards 100%. All these people are specialists in what they do. They have a particular role that they play. But one thing is interesting here. There's this man called Ronaldo. If you check all of his abilities, he's really excelling in all of them, except for one, his defensive ability. This man is exceptional in what it does, but is weak in that aspect. And we see a host of others who are doing brilliantly, people like Zidane, Seedorf. They're exceptional and they have high rating all across. And pretty much interesting, these days we have this man in blue, Kevin De Bruyne. He's doing absolutely well as well. So I like to say these guys, De Bruyne, Zidane, Seedorf, I see them as the all-round footballer. Like, if you have a goal to score, if you want to score a goal against the opponent and it's within their reach, they can fire shots and get you a goal. If they are left with the goalkeeper and the opposing team is bringing an attack, they are also able to stop the attack. So that's why they are pretty much well-rounded developers. Well-rounded footballers. However, we should not make little of Ronaldo. He's a specialist at goal scoring. You give him the opportunity and he fires the ball into the net. And that's Ronaldo for you. He does that really well. But let me ask you, in a case where you have someone who needs to do a replacement for you in your team and you don't have Ronaldo who can score goals for you, I'm thinking you should be able to bring in any of these people and they should be able to fit in well. They'll hold the position well for you. So let's bring that to tech professionals here. So I've listed a bunch of tech professional roles that are pretty common, from implementation engineer to product manager, sales analyst, technical writer, database administrator, DevOps engineers, software developers, implementation engineer, product manager, technical sales analyst, technical writer, database administrator, DevOps engineers. And also we have here network administrator, cybersecurity administrator, software engineer, software quality assurance. These are the tech professionals that are pretty common around here. And for you to excel as one of these people, I've mapped out 5 things that I see in my superiors at work, and even the people I lead. Like, say, oh, I think I like this person in my team. If this new task comes around, I just want to bring this person on board to help the team. So, but we need to take notice that there are people who are, I'd say, they are specialists in their field. Also, there are some people who are generalists in their field. For instance, like we mentioned earlier about Ronaldo, is a specialist at goal scoring, and he does that pretty well. Then with the other folks, Zidane, Seedorf, they're also professionals. They do their role, they play it pretty well. Now, as a UI UX designer, what are the things that you need to put into consideration? What are the things that will actually make you stand out, that your manager will want to work with you, your teammates will want to work with you? So those are the things I would like us to consider. So I have 6 of these things. The first thing is passion, growth mindset, business knowledge, communication, diligence, and technical prowess. So the last one, technical prowess, I call it sabiness. Like, you have to sabi this thing. Like, you really have to know these technologies that you're working on. So let's see how these strengths actually map out. So I have these diagrams here, and you can see this middle one. This person has a lot of passion. They have growth mindset, a lot of growth mindset, business knowledge, communication, diligence, and technical prowess. But if you see here, they lack communication. That might not be a problem at an early stage of their career. That might not be a problem, but as they progress, it might be a problem, because most of the things you're doing, you're interacting with people. Then, to my rightmost, that's how I want an engineer, a DevOps person, an implementation specialist to actually be. Like, you're an all-round person. Talk of passion, you have it. Talk of communication skills, you have it. Talk of diligence, you have it. Then technical prowess, you know your onions, like, you know the tools, you know the technologies you use, and you're using them well. So you can see at a time, people might be skewed in one direction. It doesn't matter. We are all growing. And what you do with your time, what you do with your growth plan is what matters. But the rightmost picture that I'm sharing here is the ideal one that one should have. But it's difficult to actually achieve the ideal one. But the first step is actually knowing that these are the things you should go for. Then make a plan to go for it. Now, let's start with passion. As a tech person, you should have passion for solving problems. And when I say passion, I'm talking about your obsession. Like, hey, this thing has to work. This thing has to work. And how does this thing work? If we do it this way, what will be the results? Like, you're just engrossed in that thing. That's passion. If you've ever fallen in love with someone, then you know what I'm talking about, passion. Like you really want to be with this person. You want to talk to them all the time. You want to chat them. Like you can't do 5 minutes without thinking about them. That's the passion I'm talking about. You have this passion to solve problems. So if you're a DevOps engineer, like you're looking at the infrastructure, you're looking at telemetry once in a while, you're seeing all those dashboards and like you're trying to figure out problems in your head, problems that might not even exist, but you're trying to say, okay, is this an anomaly? Should this thing work this way? And that's just you. So as a tech person, tech is not a side gig for you. Tech is something that you have come to do. You want to conquer it. Either you are experienced or you're just starting. Tech is something that you are into it and you're solving problems, you enjoy it, it piques your interest, you just want to know what is happening to the systems that you're managing. As a QA person, you're trying to check all the edges, all the edge cases for a particular situation, for a particular scenario. And with that, you're able to come up with better test strategies or file bugs for your developers. So the first thing and the most important thing is actually your passion. Like just remember, like passion for solving problems is like passion for meeting a lover, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, like meeting a partner and you just want to be with them all the time. Then the next thing that is interesting is the growth mindset. So one of the corners of that, our hexagon, is the growth mindset. It's not possible for you to know everything all at once. Like right now, you might not know all the things that you should know right now. And it's fine for you. Even as senior engineers, principal engineers, like distinguished engineers, you're also learning. So be ready to learn and don't come out as someone who knows everything. It makes it difficult for people to work with you. So next thing, you should learn to create time to learn new things. Your work will not always give you the time to learn new things because new things are popping up, new tasks are popping up, and you just have to be you have to be at this level that you can take in new things. And for you to be able to take in new things, that means you're taking from your residual knowledge if you don't have the opportunity to learn new things. I know some organizations like where I work in Microsoft, there's time for learning. Like once a month, a whole Friday is dedicated to learning. So that's pretty interesting. In a case where you don't have that opportunity, please create time for yourself to learn. It could be maybe 1 hour at the end of the workday. Try and learn something new. Also, for growth mindset, it's pretty interesting that most of us around here, we don't ask questions. Like I see it in my organization as well. People find it difficult to ask questions. But it comes to a level, you come to a level that you're able to ask questions freely. And that comes with maybe a level of knowledge or you have better interaction with the people you're working with. But nonetheless, don't let the African culture get to you that you can't ask questions. You remember that time that like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that Sorosuke was out there. Like you need to be able to ask questions, speak up. That's when people will hear you, know how you feel. So ask questions and ask tough questions. Feel free to ask tough questions. Most times we don't ask questions, and even when we ask questions, they're just on the surface. To show this growth mindset, listen well, then ask questions. Let people know you're in the room. Ask questions that even the person conducting the meeting will have to say, oh, let me get back to you on this, or ask other people in the meeting that, please, can you help with this? So you should do that as well. Then on growth mindset, keep learning. Continuous learning is pretty important. Stay up to date with all the technologies that you use. Take online courses. If a new version is out today of a technology that you use, say you use .NET like I do, please go all out to know why we have a new version of .NET. Because even when you go for an interview, someone might ask you that, okay, what's the difference in .NET 6 and .NET 8? What are the new features that have been added? You might not know it now, but please make time to know those things. So when you have this kind of knowledge, it puts you at a pedestal that you are confident enough to ask questions. You're not able to ask questions when you don't know. But mind you cannot know everything, but you need a base knowledge that will give you that enough confidence to be able to ask questions. All right, this one is also pretty important. Industry knowledge. Most of us at an early stage of our career, we are not really bothered about the industry. We're just interested in the technology that we are using. And that's not the best. Like, you're just interested in React Native, JavaScript. What's the latest JavaScript library that is out there? No. You need to add something as well. You need to know the industry you're playing in. If you're in fintech and you are a UX designer, have you tried the designs from your competitors? Do you even know the competition? Do you know what they do? Do you know their next product? Do you know their next service and offering? You should know all these things. And that will actually help you to create better designs for your organization. If you're a software engineer, have you tried to use other people's software? Have you tried to see how they handle errors, how they handle exceptions? We could remember one organization then, I think late last year, that was popular on Twitter. Their error page, like they sent error all the way from the backend to the mobile application, and we can all see that they use a Redis connection. That's bad. So if you see that as a tech person, can you even ask your own team that, I hope we're not doing something like this? You can ask them, I hope we're not doing this kind of, I hope we are not making this kind of mistake. How do we handle errors in our service and our applications? So that's industry knowledge for you. You need to learn a lot about your competition, because this gives you an advantage. You can think about the problem you're solving. You can think about why you are solving the problem at this time. Imagine you work for Telco A and Telco B is trying to launch a product. You are still in your early stages in your development, but you learn that Telco B is launching tomorrow or next week. What should you do? Like, do you wait for them to launch, or you try to tell your folks that, oh, let's limit the amount of features that we want to ship, but let's launch our product. Let it even come out first. Then we can start iterating and bringing new features so that we can beat the competition to market. So those are the things that you need to actually know. And it will help you in developing business acumen. Who knows, as a tech person, as a core tech person, you might eventually become a business leader tomorrow. So that's where you get this kind of knowledge from. Okay. Preparation, communication. So for communication, the key to effective communication is you're trying to say something to someone, either verbally or written, and you're trying to get a response back. So there must be a sending and a receiving. So if something is missing there, then you have not communicated. So for you to communicate clearly, know what you want to say. If you don't know what you want to say, please just call back later. It's better that way. Call back later and you can have a better discussion. So that's preparation for you. If you're not prepared for a conversation, please feel free to say you're not prepared for the conversation, and you can go and prepare. Otherwise, you'll say rubbish, and rubbish will be used against you, especially in performance reviews. So make sure that when you are saying something or you're writing something, you're actually passing the knowledge that you want to pass. And these days, one of the things I do is I can go on Copilot. I write what I want to write. Say I want to write a message to one of my colleagues. I can write the message, go on Copilot, put it on Copilot. An alternative to Copilot is ChatGPT. So I put it there and I say, what is the meaning of this paragraph that I have written? If I get the meaning back, if it means what I intended, oh, fine. Then I know I've communicated my message clearly. Then I can send it. Then I can even use it to rephrase it. But be careful. If you are developing your communication, this is not the time to go to Copilot or ChatGPT to generate text for you. Write it first, then get the meaning from these tools. So you've prepared ahead, be clear and concise, respect people's feeling when you pass your message. Some people might not like what you are saying. It might offend some people. Like, it might not just be technical things alone. It might be things about people, like things about their culture. So be careful so that you don't offend people. Also, when you write, especially, like if you're in a position where you write documents or you write some technical documents and you want reviews or comments, just tell people to feel free to help you go through it and make comments, then you can improve on your writing. Also, a very important thing about communication is learn to listen. And when you're listening, you're not listening to attack the person sending the message. You're listening to actually understand their idea and how to improve on it. Okay, diligence. I love this part. Like, this is about cleaning up your mess. Let's assume you're on a project. If you're on a project, you are with a team, or you alone are the team. But if you are in a team, I want to see diligence this way. Like, you want someone to come have dinner in your house. You plan what they'll eat, you clean your house, you put everything together, and you guys eat, you have fun. And when they go, you clean up the table, you mop your house, and you put fragrance, and everywhere is clean again. So if you can relate that with your work, say software development, you set up you know everything you want to do about the problem, and you do it from A to Z. If you mess up in between, you know how to clean up your mess. Like, you know who to talk to. Not just that you're like, oh, we pick this up again tomorrow, or this is not my part, it's for the other team. You can raise it with the other team and they can fix it. But if you keep quiet that, oh, this is not for my team, then I don't think you are diligent enough, and it doesn't add up in your career progression. Because remember, we are talking about a well-rounded technical professional. So when you have a project, make sure to think about the A to the Z of it, like everything that's connected to it, every service that depends on your own service, every client application that depends on yours, and make sure everybody's intact. Like, nothing is broken, everything is intact. If you turn off something, make sure an alarm is not screaming elsewhere that you're not even aware of. So, and to be able to do this correctly, you have to ask questions. Feel free to ask people, I don't know about these systems, please. If I'm doing this, what other system should I be looking out for? They will tell you, they will gladly tell you. Then the last one is technical prowess. I've put this as the last one. Although we're all striving to be technically good, but this is not the least of it, and this is not the most important as well. But it is very important. As a tech professional, you're a tech professional, you should know your technologies like the back of your hand. Like, you should know what technology, why we're using this technology. If you're changing something if you're changing to use another tool, you should know why we are changing to use another tool. That's technical prowess. You know everything that is connected to it. For instance, let's take a infrastructure development. If you design an architecture, if someone design an architecture and you're a cybersecurity person in the team, you want to review it, you should be able to look at this stuff and know that, oh, your choice of technology here, I think you're trying to optimize for latency, but this technology that you're using here will expose us to attack because this technology is quite limited in what it does. Like, you can see this person knows what they are saying. Like, he knows this other technology and he knows why this person is trying to use that technology. And he's pointing it out to them that, hey, please be careful with this technology that you are using. Then I'll advise again that you should grow into an authority in your field, in the technologies that you are using. Like, if you are using a technology today, don't just use it and dump it. Don't just use it and dump it. Like, know what is happening inside the technology, why they wrote what they wrote, the way they wrote it. Then that way you can grow. And I want you to develop your technical prowess to an extent that you are an authority in your organization. Like, if there's this problem, people should know that, oh, talk to Deji. That's the goal. If there's a particular type of problem, people know who to talk to because they know you know this thing. And with that, you have visibility in the organization. And with that comes with promotion, comes with more money for you. So remember, we're still talking about becoming a well-rounded technical professional. So let this not confuse you with specialists and generalists. You can be a specialist and still be well-rounded. Like, in your domain, for instance, now data scientists, they are not software developers, they are not testers, but all they're doing is just algorithms. But as a data scientist, they know what algorithms work for which problem. They know it. So even if you're a specialist, you can be well-rounded. If you're a generalist as well, you can be well-rounded. Irrespective of whatever role you're playing in tech, you can be well-rounded. All right, thank you very much. Okay, there's this last thing I'd like you guys to check out. Something called technical skills map. If you want to know all the technologies that is needed for your role or the tools that you need to learn, just Google or Bing technical skills map for your role. You can check for software developer, front-end developer, React developer, and you see a host of things that is useful for your role. Cool stuff.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. You can stop sharing now. And thank you. So we'll be expecting questions from everyone. While we wait for questions, please start thinking of the questions that might have been bothering you now. But while we wait for others to share their questions, I have a couple of questions. Please, can you turn on your video? Your video is off.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. You mentioned specialists and generalists. So what does that really mean? Does that mean that maybe you can just throw more light about that? Maybe as a cybersecurity specialist, as a data analyst, what do you mean by me being a generalist and a specialist? Are you saying I'm a specialist in one, two, specialist as in my field? How will maybe you can just throw more light about that? And then another question I have, maybe I'll just say all my questions and then you. So my second question is, how can I develop my communication skills? So for example, I've seen situations where we are having like a stand-up meeting and then we ask probably the back-end engineer, what did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? What are you being blocked? Do you have any challenges? And then you see the engineer stammering, he is looking down, he is stammering, he's not being very clear, or maybe on the Slack channel, they're using capital letters. There are certain things that might be offensive to some people, and also how do I develop these communication skills probably as a back-end engineer? I usually don't attend business meetings, but then my product manager says that I'm not usually very clear. They don't really understand me. I'm always sweating in my palms when I'm talking in a meeting. I have a lot of things to say in a meeting, but I'm always shy. I start maybe making a lot of grammatical blunders during the meetings. How can I develop these skills? Do I enroll for maybe a course, attend these polishing schools where they'll help me pronounce my words well, things like that. And then you also mentioned industry knowledge. So where do we pick this industry knowledge? Do we just, for example, sign up for newsletters? For example, I'm a cybersecurity DevOps. Where do I get this industry knowledge from? Do I sign up on Twitter and follow certain people? Things like that. And then you also mentioned another thing. Tech is not a side gig. Are you trying to say that we cannot have two sources of income? Is that what you mean? So those are my questions. I don't know if you're taking notes. Those are my questions. Why would I take for other people to send in their
Okay.
questions?
Okay, I'll try to address them one by one. And let's start with the last one. Is tech a side gig? Well, what I meant there was that tech for you as a tech professional, you're a tech professional. If you want to go by that name, tech professional, like, don't make it a side gig. You will limit yourself. You limit yourself. You can have extra source of incomes, you can have investments, you can have things that you do on the side as a tech professional. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm coming from the angle of passion. Like, for you to be a tech professional, there has to be this drive. There has to be this thing that consumes you, that you just want to solve a problem. You just want to get to the root of something. If you're a lawyer and you do stuff around tech, you are a lawyer primarily, just that you are doing stuff around tech. Say you are doing stuff for compliance and helping the organization so that their CEO will not be in jail. You understand some things they do there, but it's not actually your problem. It's not your problem, the choice of technology they use, why they came up with the technology. What you just want to ask them is, this technology that you are using, for instance, how do you store your data? Is it encrypted? Do you store personal information as encrypted data, or you just leave it in the open? Do you delete your inactive customers, or you just leave it there? That person is not actually a technical person. It's just coming from the angle of compliance, that I'm a lawyer and I'm auditing you, and I want these questions asked. I want these questions answered. And if you can answer it to my satisfaction, then we can say you passed this audit. That person eventually might grow interest in core tech stuff and start doing core tech stuff. And remember, a tech person is not just developers or QA or UI UX person. The person who supports our application in the back is a tech person as well, because they are the ones the customers are calling. And when your money hangs somewhere, they know where to bring it up from. They know who to talk to. They know how to write all this. So they're also thinking about the problems, like, okay, if this happened here and money hung, this customer's value did not drop, which systems can I check? These are technical people as well. So you can always have a side hustle that you're working on. You can be a farmer on the side. You can be a tennis player on the side. But you want to say, oh, I'm a tennis player and tech is my side gig. Maybe when you're tired, when you're done playing tennis in the night, then you want to do tech. You might be a tech investor like Serena Williams. Understand? She's a tech investor. Like, but I doubt that she knows all the details of what we say at stand-up. You get? But if you're saying, oh, this is my business and I need this money and this is the growth I'm expecting, she can put her money there. understand? But I don't think she'll come out and say she's a tech professional. She's first of all a tennis player. That's it.
Okay.
Then for communication, how to get better at communication. For instance, a developer comes to stand up and they find it difficult to talk. Okay. I run stand-ups, and what I want to hear from developers is what you did, is there any problem, and what you are going to do. If you can answer these three questions, then we are fine. So if you're not able to answer it, then that means something is wrong. Something is wrong with our process. Like probably you're not able to get your work done, and you're trying to tell us that you actually did something. Because if there's a problem, the essence of the stand-up meeting is for you to actually be open about your progress. Oh, I was blocked yesterday. I spoke to this person, but they are not able to unblock me yet. Oh, fine. We won't crucify you for that. But in a case where you did not do the work and you're trying to ramble, just trying to game the system, then you won't be able to communicate effectively. Because remember, we said communication has to be concise, and you have to know what you want to say ahead of time. If I want to attend stand-up now and I want to say my part, I just want to answer three questions. What I did yesterday, what I'm going to do today, if there was any problem that I encountered. Those are the things I want to say. And if I'm not able to say this, then it means I did not do my work.
Okay.
So that's what I see there. Then about communication, sometimes you might want to communicate with a higher up because they know more than you, and maybe you don't know so much about even the system. It's fine. Sometimes I've been in that situation, like I actually do not know this stuff, but I want to ask a question. And for me to be able to ask my question so that I can get an answer, I have to know a little about this thing. So sometimes I spend my time actually trying to understand my problem. I write my problem down. Okay, this is what I have done. This is what I have looked at, and this is the problem I'm hitting. This is what I've searched. I'll put links there. So more like, this is what I hit, while this is what I was doing. So if I want to tell someone to help me, I write my message this way. This is what I'm trying to do. This is the problem that happened. Then the third thing, this is what I have tried. I'll put all the links there so that this person actually knows, have a good context about the problem I'm trying to solve, and they can help me from there. But sometimes we don't even know the problem that we are solving, and it affects our communication, like how we pass it to the person that will help us. So to come out of that, just make sure you are answering the questions like, okay, this is what I was trying to do. Then I ran into this problem. This is what I have done. But still, I could not unblock myself. So if by the time you're able to write what you have done and you couldn't unblock yourself, then I'm sure you actually know the problem you're trying to solve and you can come out of it. Please, can you remind me the next two questions?
Okay. Well, you've not really answered the question about communication. Where can we develop communication skills? So
how to develop communication skills?
Yes,
okay. Yes. You just have to be communicating, speaking, writing. So if there's any opportunity to speak, just take it up, speak. If there's any opportunity to write a documentation, if you know you don't write well, and if there's any opportunity to write a documentation at work, write it. If there's any opportunity to write a request for comments to other teams, you can pick it up and say, hey, please, you can tell your manager, please, I want to take this up. Then there are courses online on speaking. I know there's this course from Stanford on communication, like from their graduate school of business. They have a course on that, on public speaking. You can take that course as well. And if you check on most universities' websites, like all these American universities, they have courses on speaking. So you can take that. I'm sure some have on writing too, because even in our Nigerian schools, we did some trainings on writing. So just check online and you'll see courses around writing and speaking.
Okay. Okay, so we have quite a number of questions now, and time is already up. So I will just go through them. So,
Okay.
somebody asked, in your experience, what are the most common challenges junior engineers exhibit, and how can they overcome them? In 1 minute, please.
Junior engineers. Okay, I'll talk
Yes.
from my own experience. The challenge that you face. You are a junior, fine. You don't know so much, and just accept that. And you are just trying to learn. Accept that. So if your manager or your tech lead is asking you questions and you don't know, just say, I don't know. You sound stupid at that time, but take that as an urge or a need to learn something.
Okay.
In my own experience, there were many things I did not know. I came from an electrical engineering background, more of hardware and mathematics than computer science. And when I started my career, there were many things I didn't know. I didn't know about databases. I didn't know about web services, but I had to learn on the job. So I remember my manager asking me some questions in Java then about JPA. I was just telling him, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So, but I did not stop there. I'll go home after work, then I'll read about all the things he asked me. Then we can come back again to have just a little conversation because at least I have an idea of what he was saying, and we can pick it
Okay.
up from there and keep growing.
Okay. So, are you saying that one of the challenges juniors face is that they don't um, they don't go back to learn, or they don't say that they don't know
Yeah.
it?
So juniors, they put pressure on themselves that they need to know a lot of things. So if I'm working with a junior developer now, my perspective is to handhold the person like, oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. That's my expectation. Then a time comes that I can just leave them to go and do stuff. So, but as a junior, people try to, I would say, overestimate what they can do, or
Okay.
and they just run into confusion. Like, okay, can we do this? They take on the problem and they might even start doing something else.
Okay.
So don't overestimate your ability. Don't overestimate your ability. Your manager knows your ability, can estimate your ability from your conversation already, and they know how to help you. So if you don't know anything, just feel free to say, I don't know it. And if I know there are some other challenges that you might face as a junior person, like communication. You've not been, all the communication you've been doing in your life, maybe talking to your colleagues in class, and you've not written formal documents like requirements documents. If they give that to you for the first time, you might struggle. So it's a learning period. So just take it as a learning period. Don't kill yourself on it. Write your first draft, revise it with your manager or your tech lead, and they can help you get better.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So someone says, if I'm a slow learner, how do I get to familiarize with new technologies while still learning the current one and being short on time to release features? So this person is probably a slow learner. He or she takes them a couple of maybe months to just learn one feature, and then um, everybody is saying, I need to be a specialist, I need to be a generalist. How do I like combine or balance all of that? And of course, we are currently working on a feature. We have traffic when going home. I have deliverables at home as well. I have other commitments. I have 6 children and all of that. So how do, how would that person still familiarize themselves with new technologies?
Okay. So if you say you're a slow learner, it might not really be that you're a slow learner. It might just be that there are lots of things that are taking your attention.
Okay.
And I think it's best that you just focus on one thing. But
The
as you
time.
have said in the question, that there are several things that are attracting, they are calling for your attention. There are things, new technologies you want to learn. Okay. I think you should just have a time frame that you want to learn a technology. Have a
Okay.
time frame. If you can say, oh, for the next 3 months, I want to learn Kafka in and out. So all the conferences around Kafka, recent conferences, you go and digest them. That doesn't
Okay.
stop you from reading about something else, say like MongoDB. It doesn't stop you from that at all. As you are going home in the bus, that was what I did in my early days. Like as I'm going home in the bus, I have the books I want to read. So in traffic, I don't really care. The only discomfort I have is the heat
Okay.
from the bus and the passengers. But I have the books I want to read on my phone, and I just continue reading them. So
Okay.
just map out time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. There are many things calling for your attention, but rank all the things you want to learn, and the first two should be your priority. Give yourself some time to learn them. You can just learn about the other things just on the surface. Ask people questions about what they're trying to do with that technology. Fine. But the one you're interested in, the one that is useful in your work that you use every day, those are the ones that I think you should take your time, put more effort into that.
Okay. Okay. So one more question, because our time is up. Someone says, if I'm a specialist and I hope to become a consultant someday, should I try being a generalist? I think maybe the issue about being a generalist and specialist hasn't really been very clear.
Okay. So A, let's take a step back again. If we can do justice in 1 minute. A generalist, let's look at it this way. It's more like this guy who knows something about many things.
Okay.
He doesn't know the details, but he knows something about many things. You can ask him a question about something, and he can actually give you an answer.
Okay.
If he runs into a problem, he could actually think of a quick solution because he knows something about many things. He doesn't know something about everything, but he knows something about many things, a lot of things. And I'm not saying, so it's more like let's see a full stack person. Depending on your stack, maybe you use JavaScript and all the tools that come with it, say like the main stack, etc. But you can have a full stack developer on another side, say a .NET guy that uses a separate type of technology. But the two guys, they know about their systems. They know about how the layers communicate, how the front end communicates with the back end, communicates with the database. They know all these things. They know how the database works. So if they are shifting to another technology, this technology goes with them. That's a generalist for you. They are not depending on one technology to do their work. But in case of a specialist, this person, what they do is just drill down into a technology and they want to know everything about that technology. Like they want to be a voice in that technology. And say, for instance, someone who is a developer, but what they do is around concurrency and say in distributed systems. Those are two big problems, and they're trying to solve it at once. So all this person knows is all the algorithms for concurrency. They understand it, and they're even coming up with new algorithms of concurrency. This guy might not be able to build you websites, he might not be able to build web services for you, but he knows that if you actually want to build systems that will scale, systems that will have 1 billion users on them, these are the kind of ways that you manage your concurrency, how a user get access to a resource that it won't block every other person. So they know all these algorithms and they're trying to get better at it. So those are the kind of specialists that I'm talking about. And in a way, one common profession that is doing that recently is machine learning engineers. Like all they just know is just these algorithms and they're using it to solve problems. And even within machine learning, there are some other things, there are some other aspects of it. You see some people say they do computer vision and all the likes. So these are specialists. They know their technology and they know their technology and they just focus on that. Then a generalist, they just know a little about everything. Like many of us, oh, we know, okay, this is a computer vision problem, but we don't really know how to solve what algorithm to do with computer vision. Then we can now hire a computer vision engineer to actually solve that problem.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. So I hope that answers your question, Eunice. She was asking, should she try to be a generalist because she hopes to become a consultant someday. So is that a yes?
It depends on the field. It depends on the field.
Okay.
But I'll say, first of all, be a generalist. Like, know a lot about several things. Then whichever one piques your interest, then you can drill down. So even in your consulting business, you can always look around like, oh, if this is happening in this aspect, what are the things that are related to it? If there's anything connected to it, you actually understand how it's related to your consulting field. So our first advice, first be a generalist, maybe within the first 5 years or 4 years of your career, then start drilling down. Or if you're a senior already, or something like a principal engineer already, then I think you have enough breadth so you can start focusing on what piques your interest.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Thank you. I think